Hi YouTube, it's your boy Grassy TV, and welcome to another Hero Siege 2 video. Sub-skill trees are a new feature coming in Season 5 and are designed to provide a more tailored experience, letting players focus on specific playstyles and strategies that better suit their preferences. Each tree will offer a mix of passive and active abilities, allowing for a wide range of build options, enhancing both character customization and gameplay depth. To access this new feature, simply click the plus sign at the top right of the skill you're looking to spec into. A new window will pop up that looks just like this. Here's how this works. You always start at the bottom, then lines connect to smaller travel nodes that grant stacking buffs. At the end, every skill has 4 larger nodes that are very build defining, known as augments. You cannot have more than 1 augment per skill, but you can spec as many skills as you have allocated. For this video, I'll be reviewing each skill's sub-skill tree for the Pyromancer class, going through every node and demonstrating each augment. Don't worry if you miss anything, I've created a spreadsheet detailing every sub-skill tree. A link for that is in the description, and as always, I will have timestamps available so you can easily navigate to your favorite skills. Now before we get started, this video is not intended to simulate DPS or serve as an indicator of which skills will be the best for Season 5. The goal here is simply to generate early conversations regarding sub-skill functionality, improvements, and diversity to ensure that every skill in Season 5 brings something fresh and exciting to the game. Use the comments to share your thoughts, or feel free to share a build that you've theory crafted. I'm streaming Season 5 beta on Twitch at twitch.tv/Graxy_TV, and I would be happy to check out any of these new build ideas that you guys have. Let's get going. Our first skill is going to be Blazing Trail. Starting with the travel nodes, we have increased duration, increased damage, increased blaze AoE, increased movement speed while Blazing Trail is active, increased damage to burning targets. Trail now inflicts burning damage on hit. Trail now inflicts fire break to monsters, slow monsters on hit, chance of trails to pulsate every second, and increased tick rate. Our first augment is trails have a chance to fork. Next is Circle of Fire. You now send trails of fire outwards to all directions. Trail of Comets now drops comets that explode into flames. And Detonation Field. Instead, flames now leave behind fiery mines exploding into flaming fissures. Our second skill is Breath of Fire. Starting with the travel nodes, we have increased AoE, increased damage, chance on hit to unleash burning fragments from the target, dealing damage to others, chance to cast an additional breath, increased length, increased burning damage, chance on hit to spread burning to monsters around the target, chance on hit to unleash a fire nova if the target is burning, chance to inflict fire break on burning targets, and increased damage to burning targets. Our first augment is Hydra's Breeze. Unleash additional breaths in an arc. Just as a side note, those little fire bombs that were shooting out everywhere is actually this passive here, this heat combustion. Chain of Fire. Breath of Fire now changed multiple times. Scorching Hellflame. Breath of Fire now applies a stack of Hellflame, which unleashes a fiery pulse of area of effect damage when reaching maximum stacks. And Molten Orb. Breath of Fire now summons a Molten Orb, traveling forwards, breathing fire towards the closest target. This is actually my favorite aug on this character. I love this. Our third skill is Fireball. Starting with the travel nodes, we have chance to multicast, increased AoE, increased damage, inflict a portion of damage as burning, increased projectile speed, chance on hit to knock back monsters, dealing increased damage, inflict fire break on hit, chance on hit to deal double damage, chance on hit to rain down flaming meteors from the sky, and increased damage to burning targets. Our first augment is Split Fire. Fireball now splits into multiple smaller fireballs on hit. Path of Destruction. Fireball now has piercing and leaves a trail of fire in its path. Orbital Fire. Fireball casts now orbit around you for a short period. And Fireflies. Chance on spell hits is upon a firefly around the Pyromancer that seeks out nearby targets, exploding into a fireball. Our fourth skill is Pheonix Flight. Starting with the travel nodes, we have increased damage, increased flight speed, unleash fireballs in a circle around you when landing, gain increased fire skill damage for a short period when crashing into monsters, increased damage reduction during flight, increased landing Nova AoE, deal additional fire damage to nearby monsters when flying, chance on landing to unleash an additional Nova, chance to unleash Seer Change when flying through monsters, and taunt enemies you fly through. Our first augment is Rise from the Ashes. At the end of your flight, you launch into the air, unleashing multiple fire novas beneath you, and then land and smash the ground, stunning and dealing additional damage to nearby monsters. Seed of Fulmination. Plant a Seed of Fulmination on monsters you fly through that explode after a short delay. Wings of the Phoenix. When you fly, you rapidly shoot searing bolts behind you in a cone. And Burning Wings. Flight distance is now short. Upon landing, you knock back all monsters and scorch the land below, dealing fire damage and stunning them. Our fifth skill is Inferno Slash. Starting with the travel nodes, we have increased the attack range of Inferno Slash, increases attack rating when using Inferno Slash, chance on striking to set the ground on fire, inflicts fire break on hit, chance on hit to gain a stacking fire skill damage buff, increased damage, chance on striking to stun monsters, chance on attack to gain increased attack speed, chance on attack to perform an additional attack, and increased damage to burning targets. Our first augment is Infernal Cleave. Inferno Slash is now a 360-degree AoE attack. Searing Fork. Inferno Slash sends multiple smaller waves that split on the first hit. Fearful Flames. Inferno Slash now knocks back monsters, inflicting burning and dealing increased damage. And Flies of Agony. Inferno Slash now sends burning fireflies towards monsters on hit. Increased damage by Scorching Aura. Scorching Aura now inflicts Fire Break. Chance on hit to release a flaming fissure beneath monsters, knocking them into the air and dealing additional fire damage. Increase the tick rate of Scorching Aura. This is very important. Gain increased movement speed when using Scorching Aura. Damaging monsters now builds up into flaming ignition stacks, unleashing a huge fiery pulse at max stacks. Chance on hit to slow monsters and light a burning fire at their feet. Increased damage dealt to burning monsters and inflict burning for a short portion of Scorching Aura's damage on hit. Our first augment is Searing Burst. Scorching Aura now creates small bursts randomly inside the aura radius, mini stunning monsters and dealing additional damage. Just a quick note on how this will work with Scorching Aura. Some of these may end up taking the increased area of effect just because I have to for the travel. Just a side note. Burning Soul. Convert a portion of your maximum life into base damage on Scorching Aura. So you get 6% of your maximum life as base damage to Scorching Aura. This is much bigger than you think. Next, we have Scorching Harvester. Frequently send out fiery souls, dealing damage and returning a portion of your maximum life back to you. This 15% lifesteal is 15% of your maximum life is what you're actually generating back. It's not leeching, it's just giving you 15% of your life on hit. And Release the Chaos. Ignite the Flames now additionally unleashes piercing fireballs, spiraling outwards, dealing additional damage. Ignite the Flames is this small passive here that was damaging monsters now build up into ignition stacks, unleashing a huge fiery pulse at maximum stacks. It changes how that functions. Our seventh skill is Hydra. Starting with the travel nodes, we have increased duration, increased fire damage dealt, increase Hydra's range. Hydras have a chance to proc a small fire nova on hit, increase the amount of Hydras you can spawn, increase the attack speed of Hydra, increase damage to burning targets. Hydras have a chance to fire an additional projectile. Hydras deal additional fire damage in small radius around them. And Hydras have a chance on attack to create a temporary clone of itself for a short period of time. Starting with our first augment, we have Chaos Calamity. Hydras now unleash small comets with every attack. Hydra Herder. Hydras now follow the player, but the amount of Hydras is capped. Scorching Kraken. Now summon one massive Hydra that breathes fire to nearby monsters with increased damage. And Sneering Snakes. Now summon all Hydras with one cast, dealing increased damage and inflicting burning on hit. So if I go for the max Hydra count, our 8th skill is Volcano. Starting with the travel nodes, we have increased the amount of Volcano fragments, increased the Volcano duration, increased Volcano AoE radius, increased Volcano size, chance to shoot a Colossal fragment instead of knocking monsters into the air, inflicting a portion of its damage as burning. Release flaming fissures around the Volcano, increased damage from Volcano and fragments. Fragments now have a chance to bounce and deal AoE damage when hitting the ground. Monsters touching the Volcano get knocked back and stunned, taking additional damage, and increased damage to burning targets. Our first augment is Yellowstone. Now spawn a massive volcano shooting out fragments that spawn into smaller volcanoes around it. Lava Trail. Volcano now sends out a trail of molten lava, inflicting a portion of its damage as burning. I am the volcano now. The volcano is stuck on you with increased damage. As a side note, this fiery pulse is actually a small passive. And Trail of Volcanoes spawn multiple volcanoes trailing into random directions. Our 9th skill is Fire Nova. Increase fire AoE, increase the burning damage from Fire Nova, increase damage dealt by Fire Nova, inflict fire break on hit. Fire Nova now knocks back monsters with increased damage. Increase the faster cast rate when using Fire Nova. Chance on cast to unleash an additional Fire Nova. Chance on hit to drop additional Armageddon bolts down from the sky. Increase the burning damage from Fire Nova. And chance on cast to send a trail of molten lava to nearby monsters. Our first augment is Scorching Bolts. Now unleash piercing fireballs instead of a Nova. Searing Tornado, summon piercing fireballs orbiting around you. Note that this is Armageddon from one of the small nodes. Traveling Flames, sending a traveling Nova forward unleashes additional Novas with increased damage and AoE radius. And Vacuum Flames, Fire Nova now vacuums monsters inside it, stunning and dealing additional damage. Our 10th skill is Comet, starting with the travel nodes. We have increased Comet AoE, increased damage dealt by Comet, increase the faster cast rate when using Comet, chance when hitting the ground to rain down smaller comets, chance when hitting the ground to unleash a fiery pulse, dealing additional damage, knocking monsters back, inflict fire break on hit, chance to stun monsters on hit, increase the damage to stun targets. Comet Shrapnel flies farther, dealing a portion of the Comet's damage, and a chance when hitting the ground to create flames, dealing a portion of Comet's damage over time. Our first augment is Fiery Shower. Drop additional comets dealing increased damage. Molten Starfall. Drop multiple comets simultaneously. Comet now has a cooldown. Bouncing Comets. Drop multiple small comets bouncing forwards when landing. And Crushing Comet. Comet now smashes the ground with force, sending monsters airborne with increased damage. Our last skill is Armageddon. Starting with the travel nodes, we have increased amount of meteors falling from the sky, increased Armageddon's AoE, increased meteor size and explosion radius, chance on hit to inflict burning, chance on cast to unleash an additional Armageddon, decrease the cooldown on Armageddon, increases damage to burning targets, chance for a meteor to turn into a ball of fire with increased damage and size, increased damage dealt by Armageddon, and chance on hit to unleash a fiery pulse, dealing additional damage. Our first augment is Searing Concentration. Armageddon AoE is now drastically smaller for more concentrated damage output. Warm Shower. Armageddon now follows the player with increased damage. Blistering Bolt. Armageddon now drops a meteor on every monster around you in a large radius. Armageddon no longer has a cooldown. And Warp Doom. Armageddon projectiles now fly horizontally through terrain, exploding on hit. And that's going to wrap up today's video of the sub skill tree showcase for the Pyromancer. What was your favorite augment? Let me know in the comments. If you want to stay up to date with Season 5 beta, be sure to subscribe to this channel to always know when I post a new video. Come check me out live on Twitch at twitch.tv/Graxy_TV. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to leave it a like, as it does help me a ton. My content will always be free, but for those that are feeling extra generous, my donation link will be provided in the description. I super appreciate all the love and support this small Heroes Teach community has shown me. You guys are absolutely awesome. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.